Even it's not quite going to work. Don't stick your head out, mate.
Oh, it's Camels.
I've got Alyssa's.
Okay, put your drink down.
Hang on, listen.
One trick didn't work, I think. Still haven't updated the photo on it.
I don't want it your rubbish. Doing it yourself.
You taking pictures of them? I'm taking pictures of the drivers, are you? Have you got that? This one. Hold it. Hold it.
Other button.
And here, look.
Don't ring.
Good afternoon everyone and welcome aboard the Jumbo Express here at ZSL Whipsnade Zoo. My name's Catherine and during your journey this afternoon I'm going to be your guide as we safari through the continents of Asia and Africa. Now first of all though, as we are gathering speed and heading out of this station, I do have a couple of safety reminders. So please remain sat down during our journey and make sure all your hands, heads, arms and legs are well inside the carriages. Now this afternoon, the first port of call on our journey is going to be over on the left-hand side, which is where our children's farm is. Now all the animals on this children's farm are very, very friendly, and right up by the fence you can see two of our young alpacas. Now the alpacas are here at Whipsnade because we use them for their wool, and every year in June we actually give them a haircut and save that wool to give to the lions and tigers to play with. Now they're also joined by our llamas, and you'll notice two very large brown woolly donkeys over there. Now they're our quacking donkeys, Tarka and Tiger, who also like to hang out with our two white Welsh ponies, Grit and Tash. Now on the farm, we do have three hand-reared wild boar who were born in March this year. They're called Hetty, Dottie and Gertie. They do particularly like a really, really good scratch behind the ear, so make sure you visit them today. Now also just through the wooden fence you'll be able to catch a glimpse of one of our Darwin's rear, but that's going to be the last of the animals we spot on our children's farm today, because as we come across this crossing we are now heading through our train yard. Now here at Whipsnade, the Jumbo Express has been here for 43 years. And at the moment we currently have 3 steam engines. So we do run our steam engines on coal, using anywhere between 10 and 15 buckets of coal every single day. Now we also use an awful lot of water, about a bar full of water every single trip, and it is up to your time attendant and your fireman line to get all of that coal and water on board. Now the engine that's steaming up ahead of us though is the oldest of our 3 steam engines. She's called Excelsior, and she actually celebrated her 105th birthday earlier on this year. Now she is the smallest of our engines, so you get a really good view if you look up towards the front at the moment. And she weighs just 14.5 tonnes, which makes her about the same weight as 4 of our Asian elephants. Now here at Whipsnade we do have about 300 acres which you walk around as visitors, and another 300 acres which are given over to breeding paddocks like these ones on the left hand side. Now this is actually where we breed one of our birds. It's our corn crake breeding programme. Now the corn crake is about the size, half the size of a pheasant. It's a very small brown bird. And the reason we're breeding them here at the zoo is because they have been declining in the UK over the last 40 years or so. Now here at the zoo we do breed about 100 chicks every year to release back out into the wild. And what's really impressive about these youngsters is when they get to 3.5 months old, they actually fly all the way down to South Africa for the winter. carry on our journey today. The ones we're most likely to see are Bennett's wallabies that look a little bit like small kangaroos. They do have a tendency of hopping right across in front of the train, causing our drivers to brake quite sharply. So very shortly you are going to be coming across some very large grey bars over here on the right hand side of the train. And this is the home of our herd of Asian elephants. Now here at the zoo we do currently have a herd of 10 Asian elephants, and the first one you'll be able to see, sticking its bottom in the air right down at the full there, is our bull Emmett. Now Emmett is 21 years old now, you can see him coming around the corner there, and Emmett is a father to 4 babies. In actual fact he became baby father for the 4th time over at 5 AM this morning, because we do have a new baby elephant this morning. Now this little baby was born to Mum Karishma, weighing in at 129 kilograms, which makes him about 21 stone. Now he is currently in the barn, just settling in with Mum and his auntie Maya, but he is due to go out into the main paddock just after 2 o'clock this afternoon, so do head down there if you want to see the newborn out in the paddock. Now you are going to be able to see the rest of our herd as we come round the end of this grass bank. So you can also spot our herd of yaks and our camels currently on the left hand side there. You can see our 3 youngsters. So the smallest you can just about spot his head is Scott, who's nearly 2 years old. He's also hanging out with George, who's 3.5, and also Donna, who's 4.5 years old as well. Now all of those elephants were in the barn when Karishma gave birth, so they do know that Mum's in there with her new little baby. And hopefully, as I said, if you head down to the elephant paddock about 2 o'clock, you'll be able to see the newborn outside meeting the rest of his family. Now on the subject of babies, so just waving his tail in the air on the left, you've got our little baby yak Zach, and you've also got our 2 young camels. You've got Billy sitting up and Bo just flat out on his side, having a little bit of a snooze over there. Now vacuum camels do have these humps on their backs, which are full of fatty tissue. Now this fatty tissue helps to keep them going when there's very little food around over the winter, and at the moment they're just growing up their 6th winter coat. I've also got our herd of pairs avid deer across on the left hand side, and this lot do have a tendency of making very loud bursting noises at the moment, trying to impress the females. Now just underneath the bridge on the right there, you've got one of our young Asian rhinos. This is Ajang, who's just turned 3 years old. Now Ajang is going to grow up to be a very large rhino by the time he's 10 years old, because once he's 10 he'll be the same size as Dad Hugo. He's going to be waiting patiently outside the greenhouse there while his keepers are getting his lunch ready to bring out. Now I've also got another one of our females very close to the fence line today. Now this is Baluti. You can see she's clearly been lying in her dinner, covered with hay and mud down one side of it there. Now our Asian rhinos do love to wallow though, because this mud acts as a beautiful beauty treatment for them, keeping their skin not only nice and soft, also protecting it from the sun and biting insects. Now you have again got our pairs up in here on both sides of the train, and just over on the right hand side up towards the sand patch you can see one of our young males trying to dig his antlers into that branch. Now in actual fact pairs avid deer males do have a pretty tough life, because females are incredibly fussy and they will only pick the male with the biggest set of antlers. Now young males like this one over there don't really have a chance, so they do like to make themselves look a little bit more impressive, and the way they do this is by getting branches stuck on their antlers so it makes their antlers look bigger. Now you can see that he is doing a pretty good job of almost succeeding in getting that large tree branch on his antlers there. To be honest, I don't think he's going to have much competition for the other male over on the left there. Now pairs avid deer originally, when they were first discovered in China in the 1900s, were actually named one of the 4, because the Chinese people did believe they were made up of 4 different animals, having the hooves of a cow, the tail and the body of a donkey, the neck of a camel, and of course the antlers of a deer.
Huh? That's filming. One out of 2 dogs.
Now just through the left there you've got our swan deer right over in the back field, but coming up in the very close corner of the right hand paddock here are our Cheval horses. Now these aren't any old horses, they are in actual fact the second rarest animal we've got here at the zoo, being the last true breed of wild horse in the world. Now approximately 50 years ago, they were thought to be almost extinct males of them left out in Mongolia. Now because of that, they have been brought into captivity and bred, and here at Whipsnade we have been part of that reintroduction programme, and in 2002 one of our females, Natasha, was actually taken back out into Mongolia, released into the wild, where she's had 2 foals. But as you can see, Vicky, our male, is too impressed with the train going past at the moment, over these 3 girlfriends are really damn fast. Now just on the left, you have got one of our young male fallows. He was just eating the bark off the tree there. Now we do have a herd of 160 fallow deer here at Whipsnade. They're very pale individuals, and the males are just starting to thicken up around their neck muscles, ready to impress the girls. Now the small deer that are chocolate brown just in front of the fence line are baby seeker deer. The rest of the herd are just sitting down a little bit closer to the train there. Now seeker deer come from Japan, and they're actually known as bowing deer because when you have feed them, they'll always bow before you feed them. Now you can see that we've got our dominant male sat right in the middle of that herd there. He's already competed against all of the others in that group. As you can see, he's not too bothered about them sharing the grass with the girls. Now we do have a free roaming cup deer here at Whipsnade called a Chinese horse deer, and the 3 that are just up towards the shed on the left there are these individuals. Now Chinese horse deer come from China, and the reason they get the name horse deer is because they're excellent swimmers, being able to swim about a mile at a time without any break. Now they are pretty unusual though, because instead of growing antlers like the seeker deer and the fallow deer, we've got a few just coming up on the left there, the males actually grow a set of fangs which they use for fighting. Now you do have a couple of young males there just running straight away from the train. These 2 are actually in their first year of life because they've only got the short spikes at their antlers. Now we do have a couple more Chinese water deer just over here on the right hand side, sorry. So do keep a really close eye on their mouths because you might just be able to spot those fangs as they lift their heads up. Now just behind this Chinese water deer, you've got our 2 sloth bears though. These are Columbo and Earthly. You can even see them running this afternoon. Now these 2 absolutely love mealworms. So here at the zoo we do scatter them around their enclosure and they'll hoover them up using their very strong suction-like nose. Now as we come around this bend though, very shortly we are going to be heading straight through our tunnel. So I would remind everybody to keep their heads and hands well inside the carriages as the tunnel gets very narrow, a little bit dark and also pretty steamy, especially. sideways on. It does look a little bit like they've only got one horn. Now back on the right you do have our pelicans on the ramps by the lake there, and also our white storks who are currently thinking about nesting, so do keep your eyes open for some eggs as well. Now back on the left there you do have a fantastic close-up view of another one of our female ostriches. Now though these guys could run at 45 miles an hour, they're not the brightest birds, because unfortunately their brains are smaller than their eyeballs. Now you've also got a couple of ostrich eggs there. One of those eggs would actually fit 25 chicken's eggs in it, or would make a very large omelette. But as you can see, we are almost at the end of our journey this afternoon, so if you've got any questions at all about any of the animals that we've got here at Whipsnade, then do feel free to come up and ask me. But as we come across the crossing and back into the station, all that's left to say is thank you very much for joining us on the Tumbo Express. I do hope you enjoy the rest of your afternoon here at ZSL Whipsnade Zoo.
What's our dog? Come here.